Subsolutionaries, we've obviously had something very, very serious happen, and there's a lot of questions around it. And in the middle of all of those questions, there's a lot of people that have overnight became ballistics experts. They've become long distance shooting experts. They've become um, grassy knoll experts. And I thought it would be most intelligent to have folks that know the game that we could ask and get information from, as opposed to the theory. I am not my focus is not, what up, Bearded Cyclops? My focus is not long range shooting. My focus, and even if I had information on it, you guys don't know me for that. And I think that a lot of times what needs to happen is if we're asking very, very serious questions, we should ask very, very serious people. And I think we should defer to the people that have a skill set and lived experience in that lane. And so in hearing all of these different things, I have my theories. I have my perspective on a very minimal level of information that I have. But I think it makes more sense to speak to someone that actually has been in serious situations like this and get more perspective as much as possible. So we got our brother Nick Irving here. What's up, bro? How you?
Hey, what's going on, brother? How are you, man?
I'm wonderful, bro.
Oh, yeah.
So just full disclosure, I'm going to save this. I'm going to chop it up. I think that it's in the middle of the day, but I thought it would be very important for everybody to get some of the information as quick as possible. Thank you tremendously for doing this.
All good.
Yeah, and I'll share it all over the place. I mean, I don't know how much you just heard, but obviously theories, perspective, every anti-gunner right now is 1000% a sniper. They know exactly what, it was all fake. We saw Amanda Seals kind of like saying, that's not how gunshots sound. So now she understands sound signature, like everything is wild. So I wanted to have you on to ask you some basic questions about this scenario and like, all that other good stuff. So first I got to ask you, for the 7 people that may not know, what qualifies you to give perspective on this?
Man, I mean, I was a U.S. Army Ranger, sniper team leader. Before that, I was a designated marksman. After I left the service, I went into private military contracting, did diplomatic security, was a sniper over there. I did diplomatic security details for Joe Biden at the time when he was vice president. And I did it for Hillary Clinton. I forget her what position she was at during that time, but she came to Baghdad. We took her around, did some security for her. It was during the time she lost the BlackBerry over there.
And we got to recover that.
Yeah.
Hey, so what is everybody missing here? Everybody's focused on maybe the shooter, maybe the roof that the shooter was on. From your perspective, what is everybody missing? And like, what concerns you about where everybody's looking over here and they might want to take a minute to think about this over here?
Yeah, to be honest, man, I think the biggest takeaway from it is the gaping holes in the security detail itself. Like when you're doing private security at that level, dude, there's no way any rooftop at that distance, especially we're looking at 152 yards away, there's no way that rooftop is going to be, if not a body on it, have eyes on it at all times. Like that happens weeks, if not months prior to even going out. It's like
is that an absolute mistake that could randomly happen?
No, man, it isn't no, it does not randomly happen. That's like it's so many catastrophic failures. It's like for all those things to happen in that security detail, to have that hole in security, like for all that to happen, it almost doesn't feel real, man. Like it feels like I'm not trying to be like a conspiracy theorist too much, but dude, it's something that does not happen ever. I've never heard of it, never seen it, nothing.
So, for the people that think 150 yards is a long distance because they don't jog, and is this within the cape? From your perspective, let's talk about the shooter force or the counter sniper. Why would he miss that? What would be the conditions? Let's say it's all legit and everybody failed and there's no conspiracy, right?
Yeah.
What would be the conditions for that to happen, for him to not see that? We already got to the point where we don't got a body on the roof. There's no eyes on the roof. What would be the conditions for that officer to miss that person shimmying up that roof?
The odds of that happening, man, I'm trying to give it, man, how hot was it that day? I mean, if there's like like on those metallic rooftops, you can see that boil effect. I'm trying to like pass it off to that, but even with that, you can see movement. Like your sights may be obstructed looking at a tin roof on a hot day, and you get that boil, the mirage effect. Like you may have that, yeah, you may have that, but dude, I mean, you shoot through that all the time. And at that distance, you're looking at movement more than anything else. You can see a person's pupil at that distance. So
Yeah.
I just don't like an A-frame roof. I'm thinking because he was on the backside of that A-frame, his view was obstructed. I don't know how much higher of an elevation they had on that roof that the shooter was from. That's like the only thing I can chalk it up to. The only thing. But to get shots off on the target and hit him where he hit him, he had to have seen him like to begin with. You know, I don't. Yeah.
Is there a possibility, between joint, okay, local PD works
Hmm.
with Secret Service. Okay, and this particular one is Butler, PA. It's not a big city. We're gonna make Secret Service detail mostly on the president, right? So in
Hmm.
this scenario, is it possible that there was maybe the miscommunication between local and Secret Service? Because was the counter sniper, was he Secret Service or was he just local PD?
Yeah, I just found that out today. He was a Secret Service sniper that shot him. So I
Wow.
just found that out today. Earlier this, like a few hours ago, reading a news clip. I'm not like 100%. It was on the news. It was on a news article. I'll have to send it to you. But they said it was a Secret Service police sniper. So a sniper.
Okay, so we fast forward. We get 2 to 3 minutes. What's the protocol? We get 2 to 3 minutes of,
Hmm.
those videos are all over the place.
Yeah.
Regular people that can see the roof from under the roof and are
Hmm.
pointing, saying, yo, there's a dude over here. Yo, yo, yo. What would be the breakdown of communication, A, to not immediately get the president off of the stage, in your perspective?
Radio communication. If you're looking at like the lower level, the Butler PD, and they're not used to something like that, I can see that maybe that guy who was going to make that phone or make that radio call, he didn't want to because it would have created an entire chain of events to have the president rushed off stage during a one of his rallies. So he may have been like timid to even hop on the radio. That lapse in communication, but once the call was made, like they should be all on the same radio frequencies, radio channel.
Yeah.
Um, that lapse in time, the only thing I can chalk that up to, man, it's literally like the guy on the ground did not want to be that guy that listened to the crowd, made a bad judgment call, and he made the wrong call, and it destroyed the entire rally. That's the only thing I can chalk that up to.
Is this staged? Is this, like Amanda Seal says, is this just popcorn and those aren't real shots and that's not what gunshots sound like? And I'm being a little bit facetious, but it is Amanda Seals the expert here in knowing what the sounds sound like? And what, from your perspective, is it all faked? Is Trump just jumping out there to get some more notoriety as he's the front runner?
He doesn't need any more like notoriety. He already has that. But dude, the first time I got shot at, I didn't know what was going on. I was thinking like movie, you hear the big boom, 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 but I heard crack pops, like light pops. I thought my hearing protection, my peltors were malfunctioning. I had static in them or something like that. But after you've been shot at, what they were hearing, those little pops and cracks, was the supersonic projectile moving at supersonic speeds, cracking the sound barrier. And you can hear it over the mic, that crack. Then like a half a second later, split second later, you heard the boom of the rifle.
Yeah.
And it gives you a good judgment of how far away he was. But yeah, what Amanda Seals was hearing, it was that pop of the bullet, that supersonic crack. You never hear the bang. If you hear the bang, you're not hit. And that
Yeah.
bullet probably really wasn't for you if it was a real sniper, you know?
Right. The only time that I've had something similar, somebody tried to shoot me in North Philly a couple years ago. This was a handgun though.
Really?
Yeah. I came out of the crib. It was 3 a.m. and it was like they thought I was doing something that I wasn't doing because I used to do it with them. And they hid between the two. Philly's like your door and then the steps in the street.
I drove through Philly, man. That's a different concrete jungle, man.
And so that's my combat, right? The they were in between cars and just shooting at me, and it was just like they missed everything.
Wow.
And yeah, and so but that's a little bit different. At that distance, you're dealing with different scenarios. You're different with different, like you said, speed, sound, all of these different signatures. Let's go to the shooter for a second. Nick, how the fuck was he able to shimmy your roof with a ladder? With a ladder and mosey to that situation? Is that shooter wrong to, as soon as he gets up there, okay, he doesn't want to be the person. Now I'm low-key kind of like accepting that if he's local PD, he's got to get that call. Yo, don't shoot until da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
But at a Secret Service level, that's the threat. He's on the roof. We get him. How was he able to do that?
Man, I've thought about that. And to be honest, it's impossible for me to like give you a legit answer. You know, there's so many, like, dude, you got to think, we're looking at the Secret Service, like the top tier who protects the president and all these guys, top tier. And a 20-year-old guy who, with no training, no background, if he could pull something like that off, dude, that should raise a lot of eyebrows. I don't know how that happened. Like, if I were to do something like that, that would have not even crossed my mind. You know, I'm going to get within 200 yards of this guy, shimmy up a ladder, low crawl up on not even camouflage. I think he had like a gray shirt on and cargo shorts, you know? Yeah. And I'm, dude, it's impossible for me to even like conceive or even try to put into words to make it make sense to where, like, I could see how they missed this guy. I just don't see how.
Is that secret? So we go with that counter sniper, and he's focused on looking at further out to distance. 150 ain't that far. I'm used to going somewhere else. Maybe he's like, well, is it possible that his position, maybe he couldn't, maybe even if he's from our vantage point, got him and it's looking like he's looking at him, but is it possible that he's looking further?
I'll give you like a secret. It's not like a secret. So Secret Service can't really shoot that far, bro. Like they can't. I'm not going to give the distance, but I've done training with them and I did some Super Bowl work with them a few years ago. They can't shoot that far. They're not like what you would think a mile-long shot.
Yeah.
Well, they're not. They can't shoot that far. They're trained to shoot, I would say, within like 300. I'm not going to. Well, relatively close. The odds of him, like when we call it burning through a target, where you have your scope set to a certain zoom level. Let's say if it's 20 power, 12 power, 15 power, you could burn through an object that's closer, and I would use that to like burn through foliage or something like that. But a moving solid object like a human being, there's no way. And he had a spotter with them as well. So, and those are the primary focus points as a counter sniper. My likely or known, likely, and suspected avenues of approach are a threat. That would have been my top priority, was that rooftop at 152 yards away, that little housing complex. Everything beyond that was low terrain, low foliage. Dude would have to have a ghillie suit to even low crawl that far. Right. But to hop up on a roof, I'm looking at the rooftops. When I was sniping and doing all my sniper work, rooftops and windows were my primary.
Yeah.
The guys on the ground should have the stuff on the ground.
How's this 20-year-old do this? This random 20-year-old that is no military background. Now, maybe I'm conspiracy theorying it a bit myself, right? What if he's the patsy? There's no scenario to me that makes it okay. Is it possible the shot came from somewhere else and this guy's on a roof and that's why everybody ignores him? I mean, that might be movie shit in my head. You know what I'm saying? You're talking
Lee Harvey Oswald type stuff, conspiracy stuff. That shooter in the knoll, but grassy knoll. I would say, man, my conspiracy side. I mean, if I wanted to dive into that realm, I'd be like MK Ultra type stuff,
Mm,
where, but I don't think it was, because he had an AR-15, correct?
correct.
So I don't think it's like one of those deals. I think that there was a huge gap, a huge failure at some point. I don't know if somebody allowed something to slip through the cracks of that nature,
Yeah.
but I just never seen anything like that. I would have gotten fired. My entire team would have been stood down and fired.
Yeah.
There's just no military background. Imagine what a guy could do if I woke up one day, was off my meds. I'm not on them, but the whole PTSD thing or whatever you want to call it. And I
Yeah.
decided I have nothing else to lose. I'm gonna try my luck at doing this thing.
Yeah.
If a 20-year-old guy can do it, no training, no background, it would be scary what a guy with a little bit of training could do, just a little bit,
Right.
and the right rifle. It's scary, man.
How did he miss? What was it? Divine intervention? Was it a bad zero? How did he miss from your perspective? Now, I
I
want to be clear for YouTube and for everybody else, to people that's just tapping in, you guys can ask questions, support the work with a super chat, all that good stuff. But for YouTube, we are talking about hypotheticals. We are having discussions about hypotheticals. And, obviously we're super excited and happy that no life was taken that day. Somebody came to do something, very, very nefarious for whatever their reasons are. So I just want to be very, very clear about that. But how did this 20-year-old miss? What made this happen?
I think it's like a mix of everything you said, to be honest. But as far as a zero goes, from my understanding, he was like a high school. He didn't make it into the high school rifle team,
Mm,
like he had tried out, but he was a member of a local gun club or something like that as well. So I'm comfortable he could shoot at 100 yards. 100 yards is not far. People can do it with pistols,
yeah,
Sure, you could do it with a pistol.
right.
100 yards is not that far, but to the average, I mean, if you haven't shot, it can be. It's intimidating if you've never been on a long range before. But I'm assuming he could or had a rifle that was zeroed. I think nerves had to do a play in it. Divine divine intervention. I think at the last second, Trump moved his head, but that's to say he was even aiming for the head.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and he had open sights. They were iron sights. I don't think he
Yeah.
had a scope on his rifle at all. So,
Oh yeah.
and he's unsupported. He's shooting, with no bipod, no sandbag, nothing like that. He's just unsupported. And it would seem like relatively like rapid fire. It wasn't, a boom and a 3-second delay. It was one shot after the other. The divine intervention, lack of training, nerves, and heads move funny. I'd never when I'm shooting, if I were shooting at someone, I don't want to aim at the head. That's
Right.
that's the piece that moves the most. I was always a body guy. I'd
Right.
rather shoot at something. If I'm gonna miss, I'd rather miss in the left lung as opposed to the right lung. I'm fine with that. But shooting someone in the head can be tricky. But I don't know. I think a little bit of what you mentioned, a lot of divine intervention as well, though. A lot of that.
What would it look like today if this kid does go center mass? This kid, everything doesn't change. Trump's talking about, oh, do you guys put that up on the screen? My
I like
immigration
it.
was so great. And he
Yeah.
turns at that like, let's say he doesn't have that immigration conversation, and the kid goes headshot and even goes center mass and
Yeah.
hits you. What does America look like today?
I thought about that, man. I want to say riots. I want to say protest in the streets. I would, after the last election, whatever you want to say happened. A lot of people don't agree with it, but after that, this happening, if it were that bullet were to connect and we had no more presidential nominee Trump, I think we would be looking at a different America right now. A lot of questions would be asked as to, who's in charge of what, who pulls the strings, and why things happen the way they did. A
Yeah.
20-year-old kid allowed to get that close and take out, the guy who's probably going to be the next president.
Okay, so let's fast forward a bit. We go to They take forever to get him off the stage.
Yeah.
What was that about, and where was the failure there? It just seems to me like there seems to be back to back to back catastrophic incompetence, and kind
Yep.
of like the COVID thing, right?
Yeah.
When COVID was happening, I was like, is everybody failing at the same time, or is everybody an evil genius at the same time?
Right. Right.
What?
I think it's a lot has to come down to training. And I think people can get lackadaisical in their training as well. You go through decades. 1981 was like the last presidential assassination attempt, like 1981. You go
Yeah,
all these decades without anything happening like that. I mean, Bush had some shoes thrown at him, but
yeah,
that's nothing compared to getting shot at. I think that that lapse in having something like this happen, people get comfortable. It's like my presence here alone is enough. No one's
yeah.
going to do anything. It never happens. And I think a little bit of that, lack of training, and dude, I just never seen a team operate like that. Like when I was working with Triple Canopy, I've never seen, and we were nowhere near like Secret Service work with them or whatever. What I thought, but having seen that performance, it puts things into a new perspective. Like there was so many failures on that end. Why did it take him that entire team so long to figure out what to do? And you got people on the ground asking in that team, that huddle, what are we doing? Where are we going now? What are we doing? What are we doing? Like that should have been rehearsed a million times over. You can do that in your sleep drill, you
Right.
know? It
So
doesn't make any sense.
so what you're saying, Nick? It shouldn't have been no women. The women are the DEI hires, and and Trump is 6'3", and they can't protect him, and they can't move him, and they let him stand there and say, "Let me get my shoes."
Yeah, yeah. Bro, the whole you said it. You took the words out my mouth. That's what I mean, you know? And it's sad I'm not being, dude, my wife said it too, you know? So I'm
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
She's like, yeah, there's just there some jobs are not for certain people, you know, and I'm not taking anything away from anybody else, but I don't want my wife is 5 foot, 98 pounds, you know, and she's not pulling me from anywhere.
right,
Trump is 6'3",
right.
and we got chicks on that team who had trouble holstering their weapon. One, two, why are you even trying to holster it during an active threat? Why were you trying to put it in your holster in the first place? That didn't
Yeah.
make any sense.
These
And
are
you're
the
allowing your
questions. It looks so bad that I kind
yeah,
of was almost low key like, "Oh, this must be staged." Like I could smell her dopamine and adrenaline.
yeah, yeah,
I could like she was,
yeah.
and the one chick that like, let me put my shades on.
Come on, come on. Yeah. Dude, that would have never happened. Never, like your principal is primary at over everything. He would have been off the stage, tackled, dragged, whatever he would have been off the stage quick. To sit there and lay down like that, that looked really bad. He could have plucked off if that guy had a good zero. Let's say if it was a zero or
Yeah,
knew how to shoot or shot better. He could have laid waste to that entire, security detail.
right. Because
But they
y'all are
jumped
all
on
nobody off the X. Everybody's
nothing.
chilling.
Yep, yep. And I have to get my shoes first. Come on, no.
Yeah. Is it possible? Okay, from your perspective, is it possible that the celebrity of Trump is intimidating his own Secret Service to not, almost like, oh, that's the big boss. I can't do my job because I don't want to get him upset. Is that a possibility, or are they trained around that?
Yeah. There's I'm gonna say like levels to it, but there's I'll let you do your job, but when it's time to do my job, that's it. I'm boss now. You're
Okay,
not meant for this lifestyle. This is my world now. I'm in control. I
right.
was in Vegas a few times doing stuff for Floyd Mayweather, like a couple of years ago, and we didn't have we talked a little bit, but it was a very professional relationship. But if I told the crew, if anything does happen, it was after that little incident they had in Atlanta,
Yeah,
some shooting happened or whatever. But if anything happens, if I'm there and I'm in charge, this is how we're taking care of it. And
right.
it's by my rules. I don't care if Floyd Mayweather has the best hands on the planet. I'd grab his 5 foot whatever ass up and we're moving off the X and into the vehicle. But That whole celebrity thing goes out the window. This is my world now. I'll let you do your thing. I'll stay out the way. But when bullets are flying and your life is in danger, this is what I'm paid to do.
Right.
Do
This
my
sounds like
job
back to.
or
Go
be a
ahead.
yes man.
Right.
You're going to pay me to do my job or be a yes man. And I'm not a yes man,
This seems like back-to-back failure that could feed more of the conspiracies on either side, right?
You're right.
It's so bad that it looks like, oh, they gave him a bad detail. This chick looks like an actor, shades, right? Matrix. How does this person get on how does this person get to that team? Because I would assume that they have some scenario-based training to get to that job.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
How does this get there? What happens to make that group of people be the people responsible for protecting the president of the United States? Or
It's the same.
are they giving him a B team because he's not the guy right now? Is that possible?
I don't think so. I think it's the same thing we saw happen in the military when the females wanted to, or they decided to be Army Rangers and Navy SEALs and all this. And we saw standards drop because we had to, the media wanted a story. Somebody wanted a story somewhere. The government needed some numbers and paperwork to fill out. So the standards dropped. And it was all about pushing people through to a certain person through. I think, honestly, bro, it has a lot to do with that. There's scenario-based training, but I think over time, because we're trying to meet this, what do you ever want to, like, DEI or whatever you want to call it, standards drop big time, big time. And I think that's what's happened.
Do you think that women, back when you went through Ranger School, Ranger Academy,
Mm-hmm.
do you think with those standards dropping, do you think most of the hardened women that are really, really serious, do you think they could make it through then as opposed to now?
Back when I went through, we had 98 98, I almost said 98 gays, 98 guys start, 98 guys starting off, man. And we graduated 6.
Yeah.
Back then it was brutal. I don't think, me personally, I don't think so. No. No, I don't think so. And like we had a couple of chicks when I was contracting, but I saw what that brought amongst the guys and the animosity. And she's my girlfriend today and your girlfriend tomorrow. And that becomes a lot of issues. And I saw it overseas too. So it's in the Army. We had some CIA chicks on our compound that it creates tension,
So let's go back to the shooter for a second. My guy Vin is in the room. He calls it a conspiracy factist, right? There are certain things that are fact that have been conspired upon by multiple people that are now a fact, right?
Yep.
Hey,
Yep.
maybe this jab might hurt your heart. And over time, it's like people are dying from, just randomly dropping.
Yeah.
What to you, do you think that this is a lone shooter and this was just one dude? There was no support. There was no, based on all of the things that we discussed right here. Bad team.
Mm-hmm.
He gets on a roof, 20 years old, not that trained. Do you think that he is a lone wolf in that regard, as not just meaning the only shooter, but some folks going like, hey, when you show up here, here's how you get in and your van is going to get in and that. Is he a lone shooter or no?
No, not in that regard. I don't believe so. Lone shooter pulling the trigger? Yeah, possibly. But the lone actor in this whole thing without having, hey, go here, be here, whatever, somebody behind the scenes, even somebody turning a blind eye. I think there was something on the ground there at that level. Yeah. It doesn't. When I first saw it, when you said it didn't feel real to you, I thought it was AI generated. And I had to watch it like a few times. I'm like, oh, this is AI. It didn't feel it. There's just no way that would have happened.
Why do they want Trump so bad in your perspective? Listen, I don't think Trump has been the greatest for the Second Amendment. I've been very critical. I think it's cost me some political points with some of my homies, right? Especially after I got kicked off of Twitter. Everybody ain't follow me back after being critical. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think he has some where he in his first term has been very, to take take guns first, due process later type of conversations.
Uh-huh,
To me,
uh-huh.
an NRA endorsement isn't the pinnacle, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But even with me being critical, I think the nation has stronger leadership in that regard. He's the commander-in-chief of the armed forces.
Uh-huh.
Why do you think? Because I think it was 100% set up.
Yeah.
Why do you think they are so adverse to Trump to the point where we'll risk it all and we'll try to shoot him in front of the entire nation, and we
Mm-hmm.
don't even care if we kind of get caught? What is that impetus to do that because of him?
I think because he bucks the establishment. I think because he goes against the grain at whatever degree or whatever level you perceive that to be. I think he bucks the system and goes against the grain, not to their liking. And I think that that's what they're going after the most. I don't, man, that's a tough one. I think that, I don't know if, like, when people say he's for the people, I think he's more relatable to the people as opposed to a career politician who's been in for, since dinosaurs roamed.
Yeah.
I think there's a big separation in that. And I think he is for the people in that regard.
Yeah.
And I do believe that things were better under Trump's administration compared to what they are today.
Yeah.
Geopolitical, um, just looking at it from a geopolitical realm, I think that he succeeded, on that scale, as opposed to what we have now. There's proxy wars and wars, it seems like a new one every week.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, I don't think, almost not Joe Biden. Joe Biden is not really in control. And I think they're looking for a person that they can control like they do Biden. He's just the puppet, the Muppet baby. While these other things are happening behind the scenes, I think Trump's just more vocal, and he puts a wrench in that entire system that they're trying to run.
What does this "we're going to shoot you in front of everybody"? What message, when you talk about geopolitics, when you talk about strong leadership, what message, in your perspective, does this send to our allies internationally and our enemies internationally? What does that say? What do you think is in the mind of those folks on an international level?
I think they're like, I told you, America, we've been doing this stuff overseas in different countries since day one. We've been interfering and altering elections, not officially, taking out presidential candidates and nominees so someone else can move up the scale and become elected. I think it's more so like that they're just like, dude, this is nothing new to us. Now you guys are just seeing it. We saw it back in the 60s. Was it the 60s when JFK was assassinated? So I don't think it would be the first time that we've witnessed something. It has been in my lifetime, but to our allies and people overseas, this is nothing new to them. We've been interfering with elections. I was doing Overwatch for an election in Iraq or Afghanistan, so I know about some interfering.
To me, I just think somewhat, when Malcolm said a while back, chickens coming home to roost. And I'm always interested in this, learning the history of America, great nation, great power, all of this, but the ugly parts of America. And I'm like, yeah, like motherfuckers laughed about killing Gaddafi. Like this,
I know.
On television. Like it was like,
yeah,
we got him, And I'm just like, holy shit. Like, you know what I mean? These are the things that, to me, I'm kind of like, are we too far gone? Are we, it seems like America presents itself as like Superman, and we kind of more like, on certain levels, like, and I don't mean the American people, like our government is kind of like rogue. We present as Superman, but we like fucking Homelander, Are we too far? Can when we're doing stuff like this with someone so popular and it has international love, even Putin saying like, yo, I might not do this whole Ukraine thing if Trump in there. Like, are we too far? Has our level of violence, as someone like yourself, if you all don't know and don't follow Nick on social media, Nick is always like about love, positive energy, having a good time. You've reeled it and put yourself in that direction. Can our nation go back in the direction of constitutional values, positive energy, not being the world police, instead of being, we present as Leonidas in the 300 and we now fucking Xerxes. Like, Can we reel it in from your perspective? After these types of things happen, are we too far?
I think as a people we can, but at a political level, at that shadow government level, I don't think so. I think that no one no one's ever given up power willingly, you know? In order for I think the change that we're describing, you got to read the Declaration of Independence, you know? I think like that's the only comeback from that, or the only way to go back to where we want to be, or what we the American dream, or who we perceive ourselves to be, or portray ourselves to be. I think that has to be, yeah, like not scorched earth, but sometimes to plant new trees, you got to burn down a forest.
Yeah.
It feels like that.
Why did you leave? Why
Hmm.
at being, because I want to focus and make sure that everybody understands why you're here, the work that you've put in, and why did you leave? Why did you
Yeah.
say, we put in work in on some bad dudes.
Hmm.
I'm out now.
Yeah.
What was that? What happened in that change in your mind? What was it? Was it something? Again, I say this because I own all of your books.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for writing those, bro. They're
Thank
guys.
you.
They're novels, guys. They're novels.
Right.
They're novels. um, what made you say I'm gonna go in this direction now as opposed to this direction here?
Yeah. After my last deployment, I lost a good friend, and it was like the most death I had ever seen out of 6 deployments. That last deployment was the most death I had ever seen. And I went over there with the mentality. I was, kind of getting cocky a little bit. I was shooting a lot of bad dudes and stuff like that. But then when the tables were turned, I was like, man, I didn't I watched guys get shot inches, like talking in their ear right in front of me. And it was yeah, just one of those things where it was I questioned if I was going to be next. I didn't want to be next. And I had just seen death, and I started to or seen too much death, and I just didn't want to keep pulling that deck of cards out, not finding the ace. Eventually, I was going to find the Joker at one point. Um, that's why I got out. I went into contracting. I really didn't want to. It was just the money.
Yeah.
It's making like 150 grand at 25 years old, and most of that went on rims, and stuff like that. But and a nice stereo system.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I woke up one day. I just got a new house, and my wife was like, it was the day I was supposed to leave to fly back to Baghdad contracting. I looked at her and I was like, you know what? I'm just tired of leaving. I'm tired of being away from home.
Yeah.
Like I was only home for 28 days and I'm gone for 4 months. And that cycle continues throughout your entire, contracting career. And I just got tired of leaving home, man. To be honest, it was just, 130-degree heat index in Iraq, it feels like. And you get tired of it. Everything's brown. There's no color. You're
Yeah.
always getting blown up, mortared, shot at. Yeah, it wasn't the life, man. I mean, some guys can live with it. Some guys can continue on with it. But I was trying to have a family, and I
Yeah.
was like, man, you're too young to die.
Yeah. Did you get pushback from guys that may have felt like, fuck are you doing, bro? Or is it because it was contracting, it was a little bit different? Or were guys like, damn, Nick, what the fuck? Like, we squad. Like, why are you bailing
Yeah,
on?
it was like that a little bit. When I was first getting out, they wanted me to extend my contract and be an E6 and take over like a sniper section. Um, no, it just wasn't my thing. Dude, once when I first signed up for the Army, I went in there and I asked for a 20-year contract. No joke. And the
Get the
recruiter was
fuck out
like,
of here.
that's what the recruiter said,
Right.
and save my life. And he's like, well, I'll do better. I'll give you more than 4. I'll give you 6. It was a 6-year contract.
Yeah.
And I got tired. Like what the movies don't show and what people don't talk about is like all the BS, the bullshit that goes on behind the scenes in the Army, in the military. It's a lot of after a certain time, you're not going to keep getting talked down to by another grown ass man
Yeah.
and not want to feel a certain way about it. It was just the bureaucracy of the military too. It was getting kind of old for me, I guess. I got a little bit of pushback. The command wanted me to re-enlist and stay for another deployment and tour, and I just wasn't having it. I decided that more money was to be made in contracting, and I had more free reign. I didn't have to be surrounded by 35 dudes, man,
Yeah.
for 4 months at a time.
Right.
Um, and it's more free reign, more money, to be honest with you, just money. I didn't want to really do it. I was living with my wife's mom when I first got out.
Hmm.
Um, we were living in her home, and that lasted for like 2 months. I was like, I can't do this. So I had to do something.
So wait. This is after you had already hit the number. You already put
Yeah.
numbers on the board, and it's
Mhm.
still no money.
No, I was making like 35,000 a year in the
Get the
military, bro.
fuck out of here!
Yeah. It's like 35 grand.
Nah.
Yeah.
So they didn't try to bait you with like, "Yo, bro, we're gonna up the pay."
Yeah, it was a re-enlistment bonus was pretty good, but they like when I first signed up, I had like a $14,000 bonus.
Yeah.
They don't tell you in the beginning that that's going to be chopped up and spread out over the course of 6. So you're getting little bits at a time. And yeah, I just there was no money in it. There was
Yeah.
no money in. I was for the weekends. I was an E5, my sniper,
Yeah.
living in an apartment. Dude, I was going out to the club with like 40, $60,
Yeah.
making it stretch, and I
Yeah.
was broke after that. I couldn't wait to the next paycheck, or I couldn't wait to go overseas because it was tax free.
Do you think that that's a part of the ploy to keep high level operators and get staying in? Do you think that's
Oh,
part of the ploy?
100%, 100%. But during my time, like a lot of the guys with that experience were getting out. They were getting out doing private military. You're
Yeah.
doing the same work, but just are close to the same work, if not more. But just the pay was night and day difference, night and day difference. My first sergeant was trying to recruit me in Blackwater. He had a team over there, and he stayed there for like 10 years, and dude was banking. And
Mm.
that's where a lot of my entire team when I was contracting, they were all 12 plus year Green Beret vets and some Navy SEALs and a couple of Delta Force guys.
Yo, my homie, I ain't gonna say his name. I'll tell you, you probably know him, or I've mentioned him before.
Mm-hmm.
I think so because we've done survival courses together. He runs a survival course, a 72-hour survival course,
Mm-hmm.
Green Beret, sniper, all of that, right?
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
For the last couple years, he's like, "Yo, I'm down south," and I'm like, "Sure you are, buddy." Right?
Uh-huh.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And I haven't, physically spoken to him in about a year and a half. So that and I automatically assume that. And I
Mm-hmm.
always wanted, and when I get a chance to chop it up with him, I kind of want to, pick his brain about it a little bit. I don't know if some guys then not even just become addicted to the money because they're
Mm-hmm.
really fucking good at this. Like, this is
Mm-hmm.
what we do.
Yeah.
Have you seen people that even outside of the money are excited for that life?
Oh, hell yeah. Hell
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. My sniper platoon leader, he got out and did some work with AWG, Asymmetric Warfare Group. Um, Dude, just love that lifestyle. Like you're over 20 plus deployments. You're constantly deployed, doing stuff on your own, doing some really cool guy stuff. I think, but it's a young guy's game to a
Mm.
degree. Once you hit a certain age, your reaction time's not the way it should be. Your back doesn't work the way it used to. Knees hurt. It's a young guy's game to a certain level. You don't see too many 50-year-old Delta Force guys running around. You
Right.
know.
I'm going to ask two more questions, maybe three.
Mm-hmm.
First, what's the longest, if you can say,
Mm-hmm.
allegedly, or in the book, what is the
Yeah.
longest time, someone that you may have known has been behind glass waiting?
The longest time I know
Yeah.
from my experience, my longest like on glass looking through the scope,
Yeah.
it was during a 5-day operation. But during that 5 days, the longest time I was on scope was an entire day. Not an entire. It was so we have me and my Pemberton, my spotter. We took trade-offs. So we're looking at like 12 hours on glass.
Yeah.
12 hours on glass.
So for the folks that don't know, that means 12 hours. We're not moving. I'm looking at what I'm supposed to be looking at for 12 hours.
Yeah, I'm looking at my sector. I don't come off glass. He was doing his thing, what spotters do, and we switched off after 12 hours. But
that makes me think
I mean, I
about the
would look
set.
around. I had some chickens next to me, and I remember looking at some chickens every once in a while because I'm like scared of stuff like that. I don't want them to touch me. So
Yeah.
I was just looking at some chickens, making sure they didn't like come near me. And I'm looking. I smoked a cigarette while I was up there, but that's like the only time I came off glass.
Second counter sniper on that roof, it didn't even return, just moved and got and like ducked.
Mm-hmm.
In your world, what happens to that person?
To the guy who ducked?
Yeah, the second person, the second shooter on that roof, supposedly to return fire.
Oh, yeah. Off, goodbye. You're going. Got to go home.
Yeah.
I don't want you on my team.
Yeah.
I don't want you on my team. Not in a situation like that. Not when I need you. When I need you, you're doing that. The exact opposite of what you're supposed to be doing. I can't have that. No, you got to go.
Last two questions.
Mm-hmm.
Can the country unite after something like this? Can we unite?
Wow.
Is this a moment where instead of going civil war, we go civil union? Is this possible?
Wow. Wow. Man, I would hope so. I would hope so. But it would take and require a level of mature thinking that I think a majority of Americans doesn't have or possess yet.
Really?
Yeah, man. I don't even to get to this point. To let's say if you want to bring up civil war. To have a civil war means you want to go kill your neighbor wants to come kill you. To even want to think that in the first place already shows me or tells me your level of mature thinking is not there.
Yeah.
You want to go civil war first. I'm trying to chill, I don't want to, but if I got to get back into it, I'm the type of guy, dude, there are no friends,
Yeah.
I got to protect this. This is my area. Don't come in this area. I'm paranoid now, man. I'm not that,
All right, wait. So are you paranoid or are you just like, I don't want this person, like the dude that tried to rob you a few years back?
Yeah.
Are you paranoid or are you more so like, hey, I'll do it to you and I kind of don't want to have to do it to you? Or are you actually paranoid?
No, I'm paranoid, man. When I step outside of my house, I scan the rooftops, bro. I don't stand by windows. I guess I'm paranoid to that degree, but I honestly, I don't want to kill anymore, man. Like, that shit gets old after a while, I think, and I don't like it. I don't, I'm not going to say like try to sound tough and be like, oh, I won't feel anything if I have to. I'll feel something. I'm not going to like lose sleep, but I don't want to do it though. It's like, why? If you press it, if you press it, then yeah, fine. But I don't wake up wanting to like kill people.
Right. Last question, my brother, and it's a question and a statement. For years, man, I've read books, I've bought books, I've read the books. These novels, these sniper novels.
Yeah.
What made you decide to say I want to write these books, as well as where can folks go to get them? Because I think the details are important, and when people can write things out in a space where they damn near can take you there, you on that 100. This feels like 130 degrees, right?
Yeah.
What made you want to do that, and where can folks grab your material?
Originally, why I first wanted to do it, I had a breakdown, bro. Like I was about to close casket, called my dad and he was like, maybe you should write your stuff down in a journal. And I did that, to start off with. And I remember locking myself in my computer room for like 3 days, cases of beer. And I just started writing. And that's where it came from. My original like release, how I felt after that. But I had been writing books since I was in elementary school. I mean, not books. They were what you would call a sixth grader book. But I've always loved to tell stories. Why I went to the novel side, it's just because I don't really, dude, I'm over that now. You know, I want to like, I grew up on Tom Clancy and reading the characters like that. So I wanted to, dude, Nick Irving, whatever, bro. But I want to write about the stuff that inspired me when I was a kid, but I can implement what I did, stuff that I have done, or whatever, in a novel form and put it out that way. Give a guy a new character that way. It's not, you know, no one ever is going to see Vic Harwood out in public, you know, and I like that, you know.
Right.
It's different when you write a book and it's just Nick Irving. Everybody know, you know, yeah, I'm
You
cool on
got a
that.
movie coming. You have to have a movie coming. There has to be a movie coming. And
You
would
know
you
what's
even be
great?
open to that?
And you're the second person to bring that up today. I was at Home Depot,
Yeah.
like right before we had this conversation. And someone stopped me in the parking lot. He was like, "Hey man, is there a there's a 275 guy, Second Ranger Battalion, asking if I had a movie." I'm like, "Is there something I don't know? I don't know. I haven't heard anything." I mean, there was at one point, and the closest we got to it was before the writer's strike. I was talking to Kevin Hart and Heartbeat Productions. He wasn't going to play me, but this was like before the writer's strike, and writer strike messed that thing up. And I'm just been chill on Hollywood, dude. Me and you met when I was doing stuff for and on Discovery Channel,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I'm not like it's just crazy. You're the second person to put that out in the universe, man. I don't know. I honestly I haven't heard anything.
A movie, and I low key want to link. You are a comic book character. You and
Ah,
Eric July should put a comic book out.
why does he sound familiar? Say
Eric
that again.
July has Rippaverse comics.
Got it. Okay, I'm like I know that. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's tell the folks what positive vibes you have for them as we close out, and let folks know where they can follow you, guys. I want every single body to share this all over the place. Obviously, follow Nick, get the books, right? But tell everybody where they can find you, as well as whatever closing statements you have for folks.
Yeah, you can find everything I have on Amazon. Just type in like Reaper or Reaper the board on Amazon. It'll pull up my work there. Dude, I guess like the positive energy I have today is live life. Don't let life live you, man. You know, walk your path. As long as you walk your path, you'll be fine. There's only one person going to be in that casket when it's all said and done. Just one person. So live it accordingly.
100%. All right, thanks, y'all. I'm going to tap out. I appreciate everybody for sharing this all over the place. Support the work, givesyngo.com/solution. Go grab some shirts. Definitely go grab the chessboard. I got that one, but I haven't finished it. The board.
All
That's
good.
the most recent one.
Yeah.
So,
bro, I'm gonna start sending you my copies, man.
Huh?
I got to start sending you like the pre-advanced copies, man.
Hell yeah. I'm all over that. You know what I'm saying?
Got
I
you.
appreciate you, my brother. I'll talk to you in a bit.
All well.
All right. Peace.
Peace.